Hello, everyone. This is Ethan Bias with the Divine Empire podcast. I am so happy that you guys have decided to join me today. Today, I have a very special guest with me, who is a professional psychic medium, Pam Sears. She is well known across many platforms on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So, welcome, Pam. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. It's
Um,
good. It's good to be here.
Thank you. So, if you would like to introduce yourself to many of the people who may already know you, or many people who don't know you, about your platform and about your journey to mediumship and all things spirituality.
Yeah. I've professionally speaking, I've been doing it for over 30 years. So I'm giving my age away, I guess. I've always, since I was a little wee one, talked to spirit. I didn't think anything of it. I just remember my mom saying, "There she goes again, talking to herself." But I was never afraid. It was just, I kind of called it my other mind. And in my mid 30s is when my guides were like, instead of just doing it for friends and family and people that you kind of know, it's time to step into doing things professionally. And I tried to fight it, but deep down, I knew that that was part of the plan for me on this earth.
There. Wow, that's incredible. I have seen, I've looked at many things online that involves you, like your website, pamsears.com, and your TikTok, which has an amazing following. I watch your videos all the time, and to me, you're a big inspiration and someone who I look at
Oh,
as to,
thank you. Thank you for that.
as of course, as to follow and kind of follow along in footsteps, but as well, what does it mean for you that, you've gained such a big audience on TikTok, you gained, a big audience on YouTube? What does all that mean to you as gaining all this attraction to be able to help others with this gift you have?
It's exactly what I am feeling about, having this ability. I live for helping other people. And I was a hospice worker for 9 years, also as a medium, being a massage therapist as well. And I learned so much about people transitioning, helping the families to understand. We go somewhere whenever I give a session for somebody, whether it be demonstration on social media or private sessions, to know that I have provided proof that we go somewhere. Our loved ones give us validating evidence, and they also give us current information to say, so our loved ones are around us. That is very fulfilling for me.
That's beautiful. That's right, and it's such an amazing gift to have, to help people heal, to help, well, just to bring healing and a sense of closure. Because a lot of people don't get that when some of their loved ones pass on. They
Right,
don't get the closure, and so having this gift, it feels, incredible to be able to give that to someone who didn't have that or
right.
possibly didn't get to say goodbye. So I think that's beautiful, and I find that incredible. Um, when you connect with spirit, like when you're doing a reading or you're, getting ready to start a reading, I know many people communicate and connect differently. But what is that like for you when you first, you're getting ready for a reading and you start and it's just bam, everything starts happening. What is that like for you?
You know, when I first started doing this work, it was more of the clairsentience. I could feel them show up. They were there. I knew they were there. They would be on one side or the other. Um, and through the 30 years of doing this, all the clairs kind of come into place. And it's like a door opening and they're right there. So sometimes I will see them up here. I always hear them. I feel them. Sometimes I'll have their Like if they had a special perfume or they smoked, anything like that, I would smell that. But it's almost now, it's just instantaneous. I don't even have to wait. It's just natural for me now.
Wow. It's beautiful. That's incredible. And I know you said it's just natural for you now. So when you connect, I know a lot of people wonder, is there sometimes when you are connecting with a loved one or energy that comes through that you have to sometimes set boundaries or kind of um, turn it off if it gets too strong or gets too intense, or has that ever happened for you?
It's that aspect. It's never happened for me too intense. No matter how someone may have crossed over, if some of it's very, very traumatic, that aspect has never. And my guides know that I have set up boundaries, so they're fully aware. The boundaries that I really keep strong about is going out in public. If I'm not working, I'm not working, and I don't connect with spirit when I'm out and about in public spaces. It's, it's
Right.
not it's not okay to all of a sudden go, oh, you go up to somebody, say, oh, I have your dear departed grandma here. Would you like a message? We don't know where somebody's at mentally, emotionally, and we
Right.
don't have consent. So that's my boundaries is, and when I'm not working, they don't wake me up at night, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, and I have seen that all over, especially like the actual TV platform, mediums who do sometimes go up to people and, they're like, hey, I just connected to your so-called dead grandma, and you don't know where this person is at mentally or emotionally. So
Correct.
I agree with you when you say I sometimes can be unethical to do.
Right.
But
Yes.
with doing this work, I know you said it's been a part of your life almost all your life, and doing it, and continuing to go forward with your journey. What has all of this that you've done, without a doubt in your mind, what has made you feel like this is totally real? This is, and because sometimes skeptics or people who come on lives or come on TikTok or YouTube can be like, oh, this is fake, this is not real, you're not actually connecting. But how can you tell them and really give them that evidence that it is real? Because I get it all the time.
Yeah, you said the word evidence. It's evidence based.
Yeah.
The information that we give, you can't Google it. This is information that can't be Googled. Um, it's information that you know without a doubt. There's no way that anyone else would have known that or could have said that other than that particular loved one. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, that's what I try to tell people. It's right around you. It's right in your presence. Your loved ones, the afterlife or whatever people would like to call it. I feel like it's just right there because your loved
it
ones are
is.
always with you.
It
Uh,
is.
so I try to tell people that's your evidence. It's right there.
Correct.
But right. And
Yes.
so, how do you kind of deal with, I ask so many people so I can relate, especially in this industry of spiritual work, because of course you're going to get, many people who are skeptics or many people who are just haters, and they will troll you constantly because they disagree or they don't like what you do, or they're in a certain religion group, which is totally fine. But the hate can sometimes become very very unethical. So how do you kind of deal with that in this type of work?
You know, I don't, I'm so professional. I've been doing this for so long. I don't let that affect me. They're going to have, no matter what I say or what I do, they're going to have, I wish that they would keep such an open mind. You go ahead and be skeptical, it's healthy, but come in with an open mind. A lot of times their mind is not open. They're going to be what they are. And I just I just send them off with love.
Right. Yeah. That's the right way to do it. And honestly, I do the same thing because so many times when I don't know if you watch some people's lives on TikTok, but a lot of people like who are mediums or spiritual workers kind of um, get involved in the hate and they just go at it and go at it. And, I'm just like, you know what? This is enough for me. This is going to be it. I'm going to send you love
Yeah,
and then I'm going to go on with my life because
right.
with this type of work, I just feel like it's all about love and light. And there's no, you know, part of hate being involved in this. So I
Correct,
think
correct.
that's
And maybe, and I do, I'm sure you get this as well. I have some people that say, well, my loved one didn't believe in this kind of work. They didn't believe in mediums. They didn't, they were always into the Bible and very religious, and they're afraid that they're not going to come through because of that. But the thing is, when we cross over and we get to the other side, all of that human ego stuff stays behind. So
right.
they've all come through, whether they were believers or non-believers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. And I think that's an incredible way to put it. I kind of want to go to your books because I have done a lot of research on your books that you've written, which is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I know your recent book that you just published, I think it's maybe in the past few years or year,
Mhm.
is your No No Nap, which is a
Yes.
children's book. Um, I think that is an incredible book. I've looked at some of it online. What did it mean to you writing these types of books and this recent one that you just published?
The recent one, there's a twofold part to that. Spirit guided me to write a children's book about spirit guides because our children are very open. They see, they hear, they know. And I chose to use my grandson as the subject. I thought, well, at one of these days, he'll realize it's for him and it's about him. And, it's also a story of how to solve problems. So, he's in timeout because he didn't want to take a nap. He threw a temper tantrum. And his spirit guides show up and they help him understand why naps are important and how to say sorry to mom and dad. And I put in the back of my book a page dedicated to parents so that parents can understand and be open to the fact that our little ones see, hear, and know spirit. And I found a beautiful illustrator that all I wanted from her was with the spirit guides was to show all the different cultures. And she did a beautiful job with that. So, and of course, I have a second grandson. And so I just finished my fourth book, but it's with the illustrator, and it's going to be um, another spirituality type book.
Involving your grandson and really teaching a lesson out of the whole part of it is really great. So anyone who is watching, make sure you go check that out on Amazon. I think it is, right?
It is on Amazon. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So definitely anyone who is interested, I would highly recommend checking that out.
Thank
Um,
you.
of course. And I've seen on your website, not only do you offer mediumship and intuitive readings, but you also do energy work and energy healings. Is
I
that
do.
correct?
Yes.
Um, what kind of energy work does that include in what you offer?
Many years ago, I was trained by the Nurse Healers Association with therapeutic touch, which is above the body. And after so many years of doing that, people were asking me to reach out to them long distance. So I began to focus on that aspect. And, there's time is just irrelevant, really, and space is just, we're all connected. So energy flows where we focus. So I do a lot of the long distance healing work to tune in. It's called bilocation. So I'm
Okay.
here and I'm there, and I can tune in and I can see certain areas where there may be some disruption and focus the healing energy on that. So I do have clients worldwide that,
Wow.
periodically ask for that. So healing is healing, whether it's done in person
Yeah.
or it's done online or even over the phone. You can do it over the phone.
Right. And yeah, I've received energy healings over, virtually, and I think it works the same as it would in person, if not better.
Yes.
So, but that's incredible, that you do that as well and offer that. Um, Now, a very question that I want to ask you that I'm really excited to ask you, is kind of, if you had to explain in your own words, what necessarily happens after we die, um, what would you say in your own words with that?
I would say that when we end this earthly journey, we are immediately taken. We are immediately on the other side. There are people that try to say people are stuck or they're hanging out for a while. No, that's
Yeah.
in all the years of experience that I've been, we immediately cross over to the other side. Many times, especially during my hospice work, I would see patients getting ready to transition and they would call out their mom or they would see their dad or they would see other loved ones, and I knew that they were there to meet them. So we can also encounter our guide. I think that we do encounter our guide who's been with us our whole life. So, and from the information that I have been hearing from my clients, there's a form of some healing and adjusting, being to the other side. And then I've always been told that there is a life review and that we get to sit with our spirit team in council and go over that. I think that is very fascinating. So
It's
yes, I believe that to be true. This is the information that has always come through. And I just wanted to bring this up quickly because in all the 30 years that I'm doing this, not one loved one has ever talked about a hell. Not one person.
right.
There's no one.
And I love that you mentioned that because I was going to go right to that and something else that you mentioned too. I know that when I go on TikTok and I watch your videos and they pop up on my For You page, I see, a lot of times that you also, make aware to people that there is no hell. And, I have also tend to believe the same thing because not once when I've connected as a medium to loved ones have I ever connected to someone who said, I'm in hell. I've never connected to that. But I love how you mention that all the time on TikTok because I believe that to be true. So I thank you for bringing that up. But also, I want to mention how you mentioned, you know, loved ones don't get stuck. That's not true. I
Correct.
also believe that. And a few months ago, I got, attacked on TikTok for claiming that loved ones don't get stuck by another fellow psychic medium. But it's incredibly unethical to tell someone who's getting a reading or who's, doing a mediumship reading that, hey, your loved one's stuck. It's incredibly unethical.
Yep.
And I just love that you mentioned that because there's no way, anyone should be telling someone getting a reading that their loved ones are stuck. I just think it's
Correct. Correct. Everyone crosses over. Everyone, even those who have unalived themselves, they also cross over to the light. So, it really does enrage me when people they like to do the fear mongering and they like to say, "Oh, I can't connect to your lover right now because they're stuck in a dark place."
right. No, I I completely agree with that, and it's unfortunate that that does happen in mediumship readings or with other mediums, but sometimes, that's for, I guess, people to really think before they get a reading with a certain medium, I would guess. But
Yes.
um, I do want to kind of go to something else that is important to me. I don't know if you do this when you do readings or go anywhere in public, but I kind of do like a protection thing around me with like Archangel Michael and just said a prayer before I do anything spiritually, just for extra
Right.
protection. Do you do anything like that?
No, I don't always. There are times when I am feeling that need. I might be in a crowd of people or something's going on. I immediately just say shields up. It's just something that I've always done. I've always felt very protected and guided. But yeah, there are times, and especially if I'm encountering someone online, some of the lives, they come through and they're not very nice people. Shields up. That's all I have to say. Shields up.
Yeah. I love that. And it works just as quick as you say it, I'm sure, because, our spirit guides, our angels, they're just right there when you need them. So, I really like that you mentioned that. Um, and another thing that that's never really happened to me, I don't know if this has happened for you, but when doing any kind of spiritual work or, mediumship, I don't know if you've ever connected with any like negative entities or lower bad energies or
No,
spirits that may have popped through.
no, not once has that ever happened. I tell people, we are all pure in spirit. Can there be bad things that happen on earth? The spirit is pure. The person can make bad choices. We cross over, we go back into being the pure light. So, I know there are some people that disagree with me on that, but I have never encountered that. Now, they can come through and talk about some of the negative things that they did when they were on earth, but as far as encountering current negativity, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I have never really connected with something like that as far as evil or negative because I always feel like, I try to stay protected, but I also try to keep my vibrations high and, everything in the positive, especially when doing mediumship. But I also kind of want to go to you also have you ever worked with like oracle cards or tarot cards or like stuff like that? Do you
I never, with the ADD brain and ADHD brain that I have, I never did connect with tarot. It was kind of too scientific. But besides doing mediumship work, there are people that want psychic readings. So I do have my oracle cards that help with guidance. They're just tools. We don't really need them. But people I notice like to have something to look at and to see.
yeah.
So I will utilize oracle cards when I'm doing, sometimes I'll do a mixture of mediumship and oracle cards so people can have a little bit of both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I know I come into your lives on TikTok sometimes and I see that you do the Oracle cards. And personally, I love Oracle cards. I think they are a beautiful way of giving and receiving messages. So I love that you do that. That's actually how I started out on TikTok was
Right.
I would
Yeah.
pull cards and just give people a message for the day. So I love that you do that. I think you have such an incredible platform. And
Oh,
going
why thank
forward,
you. Thank
of
you.
course. Do you have any, future plans or any big things that you have set up in the future with this type of work?
Well, I think I want to do a little bit more gallery readings in person with groups of people. I'm also a part of Helping Parents Heal, an organization who have lost children that have crossed over. I'm one of their certified mediums, and I do Zoom groups and assist. and do volunteer work for that organization. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more with that.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, I want to let everyone know, whoever may be watching this, you can find Pam on TikTok at Psychic Medium Pam Sears. You can find her on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, and your website, pamsears.com. If you want to book a reading, I highly recommend.
Well,
You
thank
know,
you.
I've seen your lives and you do, I mean, the readings you do is incredibly amazing. So, highly recommend Pam Sears if you want to get a reading. So, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and
You're welcome.
make sure you guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, and go follow Pam, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much. Take care.